Hello and welcome to another episode of On the Lookout. In this week's episode, we look at the market around current quarterbacks that people are investing way too much money in. I'm going to break it down and look at other sort of prospects where you could prosper. So without further ado, let's get into this data brought to you by Market Movers app. Let's go. Now, the over $2,000 sale of the PSA 10 Prizm base number 347. It's a very low pop at the moment, but it's a brand new set out. That's what you expect. So looking at data here, I mean, look at last year, we had CJ Stroud was the breakout guy, took his team to the playoffs. Again, this is 365 days, so a full year beforehand, his prices were nowhere near that of what we're paying for Jayden Daniels right now. As you can see there, the highest for a PSA 10 was less than $450. It's took it down to 180, so that's like the beginning of the season when the hype is there. Yes, Jayden Daniels didn't have cards out like the Prizm, but as you can see with CJ Stroud, who was probably running more of a hype going into the season after what he did last year. They just signed Stephon Diggs. As you can see, not even close because this is a base card, which come down drastically. As you can see there, 64%, 53%, and 66% down. It's crazy. I mean, you can see there the Jayden Daniels at $1,100 for a base. Even the raw at 46. So the raw currently at 46, which was on 22nd of the first, $46.43 is the same as the PSA 10 for CJ Stroud. Pop again 7,627 because it's a base card. I think you'll see Jayden Daniels do very similar numbers because of the hype we're getting right now. Look at the last 60 days. Obviously, the CJ Stroud had a year to be out. So this is what you got to think about with this card. Are you going to pay $1,100? Are you going to pay even $138 for the PSA 9? Is extremely high in my opinion. Do not get caught out with this. Do not invest in this card. I just don't see the value at all. If this had been silver, I would see it a little bit more because of the rarity. And it's been numbered, obviously I'd see it if it was numbered and you believed in Jayden Daniels. I actually think it's a nice looking Prizm this year. I think last year's was quite similar to most other years, with little borders. This year's kind of nice, the sort of angle borders, kind of got flashbacky vibes. But again, still, it's a base card. There I think you'll see everything we've seen here in a year's time. I think you'll see Jayden Daniels do what CJ Stroud is doing. Them $40, $10, $8. Look at the raw and PSA 9 prices there, $8.44 or $10.25. I think you'll see very similar numbers for Jayden Daniels. So be very careful out there. It's a risky one. A lot of people are putting a lot of money into this, and it's a base card in the day. So be very careful. Like on the flip side to that, obviously there won't be cards out yet for Shador or Cam Ward, but if you look at other quarterbacks from this year's draft who could do well next year, who did well this year and maybe didn't get this sort of price, let's look at them and see where we're at and see if there's money to be made on them. So I'm going to start off with, we've got Caleb Williams, once again base Prizm in the PSA 10, we've got it raw. We have the Bo Nix, we have Drake May as well. So these are the first three I'm going to go through using just the raw and the PSA 10s. As you can see with Drake May and Caleb Williams, there's yet any data for sales on them. So there is no data for the PSA 10s, but the raw we do. We have raw for Caleb Williams is at $9.85. A quarter of what Jayden Daniels was. Again, new coach there. Could the Bears turn it around next year? Could he be someone that's going to the playoffs? Again, I wouldn't say the base card is the best card to invest in. He's going to have a lot more to silvers and his optic hollows and stuff like that, but they're very liquid cards. Bo Nix, he does have a PSA, some sales there. It was only pop 2, but $255 for a PSA 10, $9.26 for the raw. Drake May, again, no sales PSA 10, but $6.48. Do you think any of those quarterbacks in a better position? Do you think you could do well? I mean, I think the base cards aren't the best cards to be going off, but I'm going off it to compare it with what we're looking at with CJ Stroud and Jayden Daniels. So, looking at the base to PSA 10 on Bo Nix is a massive price increase, right? From $9.26, you pay your $15 to grade it, $255. So it's going to go down these next few months because I'm not going to talk about him, but coming back to the beginning of the year, this new season, August time, that could see a big bump. Again, I'd opt for other cards than base, but base is very liquid card, as you can see with the amount of pop. Look at CJ Stroud, 7,000 for PSA 10. It's quite a pop. So you probably won't get a 255, but you should probably make more than the $25 it would cost you to buy it and grade it currently raw for bonus. And then we have JJ McCarthy, who obviously didn't play this year. Again, no sales for his PSA 10 yet, no data, but his raw is down at $5.48. He's going into a very interesting scenario there with one of the best wide receivers in JJ. The Jetters, Justin Jefferson, went to the playoffs, knocked out in the first round. Could he take the next further? He's in a good position there. Again, buying that card for $6, $15 grading, you're in it for 21. If it comes back a 10 or a 9, you should be making more than that. Again, I'd look for other cards if you believe in Vikings and JJ McCarthy. Or does he get traded and he keeps on Donald? We'll see. The next one is obviously Michael Penix. He does have some sale at Pop 3. We do have a sale of $50.99. To buy it raw is $3.57. So, you're in it for $18, $19 graded, and you could be making 3 times your money, right? A bit more than double. So there's options. Again, I would advise not to go raw, not to go base, sorry. But as you can see, picking up these cards raw and getting graded to a 10, even a 9 on some cases, you can make good money. It's just very liquid card, and it's not really a card I tell people to get involved in with being base because there's so many of them, But as you can see, there's still money to be made, especially in these quarterbacks because of the hype. So be very careful when it comes to other cards, but that's my advice there on those ones. So that's it for this episode, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Again, it's just looking at the data because there's a lot of hype with Jayden Daniels for what he's doing to Washington, and it's it is kind of not accepted, but it's kind of sort of justified in some ways. He's had a great season, had a few. The Hail Mary against the Bears and stuff like that, and there's a few moments there he stood out. He's had a few bad games, but he's took his team far. Big game against Eagles. I mean, he could take his team to the Super Bowl in his first year. But it's a lot of money to put into base cards. If this, like I said before, if this had been silver, because $2,000 is more than Mahomes' silver. I picked up mine less than 1,000, comfortably, and that was PSA 8. 9's, just over a bit of 1,000, and you pay a little more for the PSA 10, but you get the gist. This guy who's done it 3 times already, Super Bowl winner, Super Bowl MVP, league MVP, and potentially taking him to a 4th one, a 3-peat potentially, and the same prices for a base card of Jayden Daniels, which is crazy. But as you can see, the hype is there, the money is there, so look out for the next ones that we talked about. Caleb Williams, could he be one to take his team quite far next year? We talked about him being a generational talent, new coach there from the Lions, that people are very excited for. JJ McCarthy, like I said before, getting Justin Jefferson as his wide receiver, coming to that team there, that's obviously a very good team. Bo Nix has had a very good season, couldn't get him that one stage further, but got his team to the playoffs. And then obviously the ones that will be similar are the likes of Cam Ward, coming into the league this year, and Shedeur Sanders, probably the top 2 quarterbacks, I'd say, going into this year's draft. Obviously, at the moment, for them, it's your Bowman Chrome, probably the best ones to look for. Not in uniform, so they'll probably do well up until the uniform stuff comes out. So we'll have Donruss first, but on a Prizm style, it's going to be very similar to this year. You're not going to get till late in the season. That sort of December, January time, it's getting released and coming out. So we'll know a lot more about their season by them as well. So it'll be very interesting to see. But yeah, just be careful out there. Hope this information helped. I hope you, again, I know people watching this, people listening to the podcast are almost switched on and not going to invest in $2,000 into a base PSA 10 of Jayden Daniels. But I just thought I had to put this little content out there. So I hope it is useful for you guys, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.